Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick recap of what's going on each week in the space universe. And today we're going to be talking about the second week of May 2019. Our first item is from Popular Mechanics. They had an interesting piece about what they think are going to be the top space missions of the next 10 years that you might want to check out. You can Google this and just go to Popular Mechanics and see it. They talk about space tourism. They talk about the James Webb Space Telescope, that India will be launching her first astronauts, that SpaceX will be sending an uncrewed mission to Mars, that China will be launching her third space station. JAXA has a mission to Phobos on the books, and the NASA Gateway should be up and running with the habitation module by this time. Jeff Bezos made the news with some interesting announcements about Blue Origin and what they're doing and why they're doing it. But the focus was on their Blue Moon lunar lander. They've been working on this for quite a while, and they had a full-scale mock-up that you see here in the image with Mr. Bezos there. The Blue Moon lander is in two versions. So this is for soft landing things on the lunar surface. And it can land in one configuration, 3.6 metric tons, soft land on the surface. And in the other configuration, it can land 6.5 metric tons on the lunar surface. The engine, it's an oxygen-hydrogen engine. They're calling it the BE-7. And the reason that Blue Origin is able to put this together, it's certainly not in response to the recent White House announcements and the Space Council about going back to the moon. Blue Origin's been working on this for 3 years. And what they're saying is they're in a position that they could support the human lunar return in 2024. An organization called the AI Space Factory has won an interesting NASA contest. This is for what we could do in terms of building a Mars habitat using 3D printers and what that might look like. So the winning entrant won $500,000, which is an exciting amount of money. Over 60 teams were participating in this adventure. And the rules were you had to use a 3D printer autonomously. It had to operate, without anybody touching everything. And you would print your habitat design at 1/3 scale, and then they were rigorously tested and analyzed. And the winning design, which you see here, is called Marcia, and it would be a large 4-story structure in its full-scale version. The commercial crew race continues. Boeing was in the news a little bit that they're making progress, and they had released some video of a successful parachute test. Boeing is competing with SpaceX, the two commercial crew contestants, and everybody wants to be the first one to take astronauts up to the space station. And it'd be great if both of those firms could succeed and be operational by the end of this year. But what's really important is at least one of them be in position to provide crew access to ISS by next year. So we'll have to see how it goes, but SpaceX and Boeing both are pushing hard. At the University of Central Florida, they're working with a company called TransAstra on how we could mine the lunar ice. I suspect that almost all watchers of this program would know that we know that there's ice at the lunar poles. Question is, what's the character of the ice? What's the efficient way to get at it and harvest it and then break it into oxygen, hydrogen, and so forth? So this is what they're working on. It's under a NASA grant, and the reason that they're working on it at this point is they think that we're going to be mining ice on the moon within 5 years using robotic means, and that we're going to have an outpost on the moon within 10 years. So this is quite timely, and we wish them all the best in their efforts. The White House has requested some additional funds for NASA, and this is in support of the Artemis mission. This is the name of the human lunar return. They're calling it Artemis. And the NASA budget that was previously submitted earlier this year was before the White House had announced this accelerated lunar program. So these additional funds are needed to try to accelerate the timeline. And the primary focus of the additional monies will be on the Space Launch System and the Orion capsule to expedite completion and getting those operational in support of the Artemis goal. SpaceX is on the verge of starting up their Starlink satellite internet project for real. They're going to be launching 60 satellites within days. And by the time you see this, they probably will already have launched the satellites. And they had launched a couple of like demo satellites previously, but they were not they were like prototypes before. What these satellites are is they're production units of the satellites. So they want to launch 60 of them. And then they want to demonstrate and test how it works to set up a big constellation like this with so many satellites. So this is all going to be launched on one Falcon 9 rocket. It's a very complex mission. And Elon Musk has been very candid that this is very complex and that it's quite likely that things will go wrong in the first attempt to launch so many satellites in a single launch. So we'll see how that goes, but certainly we've got our fingers crossed in support of SpaceX, as always. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Check back with us in a week or so, and we'll be talking about the third week of May 2019. We'll see you then.